Welcome everyone to episode 80 of the Phoenix Report. I am Jack Connor, and this is actually take two because we just recorded this podcast, or at least attempted to, and something happened where our original conversation did not record. So my guest and I are going to try this once again. But long story short, I found out about this girl from when I was playing in Mature Musical Pictures. That was a band I was in for about a year or so, up until earlier this year, where they sort of relocated to. Well, I mean, the lead singer of that band, Bryant August, is he lives in Fort Myers. He was looking to get some guys who lived a little bit closer to him. Long story short, I was like, yeah, dude, that's a perfect idea, because he was doing the long distance thing for a while, and I totally understood where he's coming from. Still a huge friend and supporter of that band. Don't get me wrong. So this is someone that Brian told me about a while ago. He's like, hey, I'm bringing in this girl named Cara. She's gonna sing on the one, and then we got this other song, Counterfeits of Control, that we're doing. And just now she's like a featured performer and occasionally does shows with Mature Musical Pictures, but also has plenty of her own solo material as well. She's she's been in the entertainment business for a while. Really has been working hard. She's a singer, songwriter, actress, even a director and editor. She does a lot of different things. So please welcome to the Phoenix Report, Cara.
Thank you. What a pleasure to be here.
Yes. Well, like I said, here we're doing it again. I'm not going to pretend that we didn't try this before, because we have.
But they haven't heard it, so
I know.
Hi, everybody.
Yes. So welcome back. So, yeah.
For the first time.
Right,
Welcome
exactly.
back for the first time.
Well, like as we were talking about earlier, before everything got recorded, not only are you doing music, but you've also done a lot of acting, and you mentioned you have a few music videos that are on your YouTube channel right now. A lot of interesting material, and we will definitely get into that. But you also direct and edit a lot of your own music videos as well. Is that right?
I do. The latest one that is released is called Atlantis Nights.
Yes.
Released actually August 1st, so that was only a couple days ago.
Yes, brand new. And the material you do, and we had mentioned this before, it's not like, when Brian told me, it's like, oh, I've got this girl, she's normally a pop singer, she's going to come in and sing on our record. I had kind of an idea in my mind about what your stuff might be. It's like, all right, kind of, a lot of girls will do like the typical dance pop stuff. There's nothing wrong with that, of course. But, I looked at some of your material, and I was like, oh, wow, she's doing some pretty different stuff, at least thematically, as far as, like there are like at least 2 or 3 videos that are very aquatic themed. And, some where you're talking about, either Las Vegas or either a town in Europe somewhere. And all of it seems very interesting. And I wanted to get your take on that, because you would probably be the first of any artist I've talked to who's done that kind of material.
Really? As far as like different styles, or as far as different like subject matters type of thing?
I think the subject matter. Like, I mean,
Okay.
you have, like we were talking about, you have one song about maritime law, which has a completely double meaning, as you told me about
Yeah.
before, and we can get into that again. But like, there was one about Lisbon, Portugal, which I thought, I'm like, man, they like, if I'm like running the tourist board of Lisbon, Portugal, I should use this as like part of an ad campaign.
Yes. Hopefully one day. Yeah, well, fado is actually a type of music that is in Lisbon, Portugal. And it was, the woman who, was mourning the loss of her love, who went out to sea and never came back, And so when you're in Lisbon, Portugal, you go out to dinner, and then you hear these women lamenting, and it's this famous type of music called fado. So I was like, hey, I'm doing, an album about, mermaids and maritime and stuff. And well, we were going to Portugal, so I'm like, we got to incorporate it. So I wrote a song about it and
That's
studied.
interesting, because I mean, you mentioned before, when we were talking, when we were not recording, when I thought we were recording but we weren't. You mentioned that like the elements were like air and fire and water and earth were all things that sort of influenced you. As far as your subject matter, did that? It almost sounds like a lot of like traditional stuff that like traditional folk music might have talked about. For years, you talk about, Europe and places like that. This is probably part of their culture, no doubt. When you talk about the women mourning mourning losses at
Yeah.
sea, that's probably so like steeped in their mythology, and music to a degree, reflects that. Certainly throughout history, you have old folk songs that talk about the sea and stuff like that. Is that type of music, is that sort of an influence into what you do, as far as like, where do all these influences come from, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Well, I like to go with different themes with different albums. So, probably my first theme, well, originally I had like some reggae type of music. So that was like a reggae album called Bahama Breeze.
Gotcha.
That one was produced mostly by Carl Peterson, who worked with Bob Marley on his Exodus album.
Very cool.
And that one was from a while ago, but I recently did put it online, so you could find it on CD Baby, that one. And I'm looking up at my ceiling to remind myself. And then yeah, I did kind of a rock themed album, because I had a producer who was in a band, so I did kind of have that rock phase. And then yeah, I got into the elements a little bit. But let's see, I did another one called Lovesick. So I had like a nurse kind of theme.
Oh.
I did a music video called Party Police, so into the police. And then I got into the elements. So, airwaves, footprints being earth, and then, doing water. Oh, and there was an album in between there.
These were all like songs that you've written.
Yeah, just I have a lot of songs even that I don't even have on albums and stuff stuff that I'd like to redo. But yeah, I like to kind of put them all kind of in together. But yeah, I did want to say the album before the latest one, Mermaid Tales, is called Whistleblower, and I dedicated it to any kind of political whistleblower who either lost their life or took a big career risk to do so.
Wow.
And I'm very glad I did that album, because look what's happening today.
Yeah, that could apply to a lot of different things. But I'm always fascinated by someone who kind of starts off essentially as a solo artist, because I mean, I imagine it's not something that's easy to do to get started. Like, for me, for example, I've always been a guy who's played in bands, and it's always been about like how can I find a couple other people who kind of like the same music as I do, who are good enough to play and are going to show up and whatnot, and kind of have the same goals. When you're a solo artist, I feel like, especially as a female, you've got to look for the right collaborators as well, because it's very tough to do everything by yourself.
Yeah, it is, like the production part, it's it's like, what's your favorite things to do? You kind of pick and grow within that. So yeah, I can do basic production. Like, I can record myself now. I learned during the lockdown. Like, I had to figure that out. So, but yeah, it is tough to do everything, like the sounds and, guitars and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, a lot of my music is like, yeah, who I met, who I could afford to work with.
Gotcha. We were talking earlier. You said you moved down to Miami. You're from Chicago originally, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. And did you move down to Miami specifically like for music, or you knew you wanted to go somewhere to pursue your music career? Was that part of the decision that led you down here?
Well, it was kind of a combination of both, actually. I was doing a lot of schooling. I mean, when you're getting your bachelor's, it's very intense. And I always loved music. And yeah, I met Inner Circle, and they were starting an artist development agency in Miami. And he says, you got to come down, check it out. And around the same time, I needed an internship for my health promotion degree. So, I actually found an internship at Burger King Corporation, which had their headquarters here in Miami. And so it really worked out great. And one of my girlfriends in the same program got hers at FIU. So we were roommates for the first year.
Nice, nice. What was it you were studying in school again?
I was a biology major, and then I went specifically, like my junior and senior year, to a major called health promotion, which basically tries to keep people out of hospitals. So it's how can I live a healthy lifestyle to avoid cancers and things like that. I ended up before the lockdowns and stuff. I was working with a lot of health insurance companies.
Oh, there you
Which,
go.
of course, it is in their best interest to keep them healthy and out of using the system too much.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, no, I was curious. I didn't know. I was curious how that related to some of the corporations. You mentioned Burger King as well, but like they're a big company. Of course, they would have a lot of different jobs at the corporate level. So it's not surprising.
I worked like in their gym, so it's pretty ironic.
Yeah, no, I mean they're a massive corporation, so that's not surprising at all.
Oh, and I did sing the national anthem a few times at their big corporate parties.
There you go.
That was a good time, and yeah, I met a couple of producers. Somebody who worked as an accountant was a DJ producer, So
Hey, there's so many different ways in. So
yeah,
it's
so
totally understandable.
Monster Taxi, shout out.
Right, all right. Shout out Monster Taxi. But you've continued to perform not only not only with your own music, but also you've also done a lot of acting gigs and live performance stuff. Let's talk about those for a little bit. You've done everything from birthday parties to stage plays to short films.
Yeah, it's true. Well, it all definitely started with music. Although in college I did take like an art of the theater class, that kind of thing. But it was really when I started getting my music videos out there that I started getting attention. And then I had some people come up to me and say, "Hey, have you thought about acting? We'd love to have you in this and that." So I got into it kind of through that door, and it's fun. And I also got into the pageant world too.
Oh yeah.
So I was Miss Florida U.S. Nation
There you go.
2014. So, but again, kind of to promote the music too. I actually did write a song for them and did a music video for them.
Well, yeah, you need the talent
kind of
portion
cross
for stuff like that, I would imagine, right?
that definitely helped me to win. This is
There
true.
you go. Yeah, I mean that world, that's such a competitive thing as well too. Like people get really deep into that, but it sounds like music is definitely your first love out of everything.
Right. And it's just, I mean, the main thing for music is just promotion. A lot of it, it's so hard to just get it out there. So, by becoming, more diversified in my skills, it helps to get my music out there. And like I'll do, a princess party,
Hmm.
Ariel or Elsa, and then I'll give them the card and I'll say, "Oh, by the way, I have my own original music. Here it is. Check it out."
Nice.
So, little cross promotion. I try.
It's very cool, and obviously I live in Orlando, so I'm knee deep in the theme park stuff. Plus I have two daughters, 4 and 2, so they'd be freaking out right now if they knew that Dad was talking to a real princess. So that's badass.
Which one are they into?
My 4-year-old Samantha, she's like really into Ariel right now. So
Cool.
which is awesome. I mean, again, it goes back to the whole mermaid, theme you have with some of your stuff. I think it's like because she started like doing some swim lessons really soon some swim lessons recently. Like then she's like really fascinated about Ariel. She'll be like wanting me to like make up stories about Ariel and these sorts of things,
Cool.
which is hilarious. She
Well,
was also really into like Cinderella before that as well. So Cinderella is big as well.
I love doing Cinderella because I can do some of my opera stuff that I learned in college. But going back to Ariel, I was her for the Key West Mermaid Festival last month.
Hmm. Yes. Yeah. No, I'm assuming that's a little bit more of a family-friendly event than some of the stuff that goes on in Key West, from what I hear. So.
For sure.
Yes.
Yes, it definitely was.
But that's cool. I mean, obviously, Miami is a big center of a lot of the entertainment industry. So I mean, there are a lot of producers and a lot of people in the industry who do go to Miami. It's not necessarily New York or LA, but you do have a presence there. Not necessarily with the rock stuff, unfortunately, but certainly with your own stuff. I think that it definitely it definitely casts a bit of a wider net as far as that area goes.
Yeah, yeah, and people underestimate the Caribbean influence as well. There's definitely, the reggae artists and things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. You said that you're a big reggae fan. Are there particular like reggae
Mhm.
artists that have influenced you? I mean, it sounds like that was a genre you were really really into and wanted to get started. What were some of the artists in that world that really inspired you to do music?
Well, definitely Bob Marley. I mean, I like artists that walk the walk and talk the talk,
Oh
and
yeah, well he's right at the
and
top of the list, obviously.
yeah, and I love how deep he goes with some of his songs too. Like Cornerstone,
Mm.
things like that. I love artists that put philosophy into their music. Not that many even do. But reggae, a lot of reggae artists can do that. So yeah.
Well, that's the thing about reggae. There's definitely a vibe to it, and especially living in South Florida, it's kind of hard to get away from that. That whole tropical vibe of it too. It's definitely appealing to a lot of folks. So I definitely get that.
Well, I stayed here because I was like, if I have to work my whole life, might as well be in a vacation destination.
Yeah, a lot warmer than Chicago. Let's be real.
Yeah.
They call it the Windy City for a reason. Um, but yeah, but it's cool. I've been to Chicago before. It was a cool place. Um,
Oh, nice.
yeah, yeah.
Nice. Yeah,
And we
beautiful architecture. I mean, you can't deny that.
saw
It's
some of the museums
really
there.
nice.
Ironically, my wife, who
Hmm.
who is from Florida, born and raised, when she and I went up to Chicago a couple years ago, it was the first time that she had ever actually seen snow because there was some snow falling down there.
Oh, that's
Yes.
awesome.
It was
Wow.
adorable. I took her a video of her like outside, like catching snowflakes. She's like, "Oh my gosh, it's real."
That is adorable.
It was pretty funny. But yeah, so getting back to the music, obviously acting, I feel like that's almost another vehicle with which to get your music out there and get yourself. And there have been so many artists over the years who have done both. And so you wouldn't be the first person to try that. And I think that's really cool. It's something that I've dabbled in acting a little bit here and there myself. So it's something that I would love to do a little bit more of if I can, schedule allowing and whatnot. But it's also cool that you're able to incorporate that with this job you have with performing at birthday parties and playing different roles and being able to improv
Yeah.
and
Yeah, that kind of stuff is important. I'm also a voice teacher. I just had a voice lesson with kind of a younger girl. She's about 9, and we were going through this Ariana Grande song, and she also did a Post Malone song.
yeah.
But anyway, I do this thing called the 4 questions. Who are you? And she's like, oh, my name is, and I'm like, no, who are you in the song?
Mm.
So really, but in a way, it helps them to be not as nervous, I think, in the long run. Because if you go up there and you're putting yourself on the line as a singer, a lot of times it can give the nerves. But if you're really portraying somebody else, I think that can take that away a little bit. And then
100%. Yeah.
and then I go, who's your audience? And then what's your purpose for the song? Which is again, like, as if you're acting, what is my purpose for this scene?
Yeah. What's your
That kind of
motivation?
thing. Yeah. And then, as a singer, how do you feel? Because, if you're listening to a song and you're not feeling that the singer is feeling anything, then you're not going to connect with the song either.
Hmm.
So really as a singer, yeah, there really is a lot of crossover. A good singer will really be able to get into that role of that
Oh
song. I
yeah.
mean, if you had a bad day that day, like you got to leave it behind for the song, and be in the song.
It's different as opposed to playing just guitar or bass or drums or anything because you are
That's true.
you are emoting through that. It's such a personal way to express yourself. And even I remember a couple years ago when I was taking vocal lessons. I remember,
Oh,
um,
good. You took vocal lessons.
yeah, I mean,
All right. I encourage everyone to do it.
exactly. So
With
so
me. With me. No, I'm kidding.
yes, of course. So the way I put my teacher, the way I put it, if you like the way I sing, you can give my teacher the credit. If you don't, then you can blame it all on me. That's kind of that's kind of the disclaimer I
I
put it out
like
there.
that. I like that. I'll use it. So what did you learn during your voice lessons?
Well, I mean, one of the things that I took away from it was like what you said, like where are
Really?
you in the song? Like for a couple weeks, she would be like, okay, let's try some like sort of like Frank Sinatra style stuff, and I'm like, all right, that'd be cool to kind of just play with some different techniques and some different genres and see how that goes. Then like one week, it's like, okay, let's try something from like Phantom of the Opera, and I noticed like, okay, well that's when it comes to like show tunes and like musical theater stuff. And I remember talking to her, and I was like, all right, well, like how do you want me to approach this? Do you want me to like get into character of like the person I'm singing for, or do you want me to just like play it straight, or And so many times, also to your point, like it really does come. It is such a mental thing as far as like where physically, mentally, in terms of how you're feeling, are nerves kicking in that can affect your performance. It's
Oh
all of those
yeah.
things, what sort of headspace you're in. And that sounds like a vague, those sound like vague things to to
I
people who
know.
who might not know what it is, but it's like if you've done it, you kind of know what I'm talking about. At least I think so.
Yeah, I know. I've seen, videos of like even Justin Bieber, he's performing and he's singing the same exact song, but here he's nervous because his voice is like tight or something's happening. And then here he's relaxed, listen to his voice. So there's a lot of even top singers where, yeah, because your instrument is your body.
It is,
So
yeah.
whatever's happening in your body, like it comes through. So yeah, it's not an exact science.
No.
So
No, I mean,
we'll
it's almost kind of like exercising or doing some sort of movement in the gym where it's like, it's easy to let, if you get tired enough that your form isn't quite where it needs to be. Like if you're
mm,
lifting weight
mm,
or doing some sort of aerobic exercise, it sort of applies to that as well. So it just comes, I think, with repetition and muscle memory as well.
100%. Yeah, like doing the scales just to develop the strength in the right way though too, because it's, got to be nice to it.
Another thing is even like even like shaping my mouth certain ways when pronouncing like certain.
Yes,
That was
yes.
a thing where it's like I didn't really think about that. I'm like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense.
Oh yeah, in fact, I'll make my mouth like I'll exaggerate it and my student will be like there'll be hardly any movement. I'm like, "All right, we need a mirror. You're not doing it. You're not moving your
Yeah.
mouth." Like a lot of they
Even when you're
think they
sounding like
are
an
and
O
not.
or an E or something like that, you don't want to like make the E too thin and whatnot. So
Yeah, but teaching it's helped my own voice as well. So, when you're in it every
absolutely.
day.
Yeah, especially if you have to articulate it and and say what you're thinking about as well. But you met Bryant from MMP when you were doing the music video for I Am Poseidon.
This is true. We met before that. We met before that, but I heard the MMP songs during that time.
Nice, because one of the photographers, I guess, was Bryant's uncle, Vito Palmisano.
Yes, this is true. And I met Vito at a film festival
Right.
um,
Now,
in
now, did
Vegas.
he tell you about like, hey, here's my nephew's band, check it out, something like that?
No, because we were kind of working on well, first I met him. It was we're doing a photo shoot, so and I think he'd mentioned his music and maybe played some of it, but it didn't really hit me until we were in the car during I Am Poseidon and we were going from I think it was from one of the underwater scenes to the drone. I don't know if you remember he flew a drone over the tree scene.
You know what's funny? I remember him posting from Facebook and Instagram, like first time seeing him in like full costume, like dressed up as Poseidon with it. I was like, bro, what the hell are you doing? Like, what is this gig? What is going on here? He's like, it's like this is that girl I told you about. Like, she. I'm thinking about bringing her in to sing on some of the songs, in which you did, of course. You did some work in the studio with him for the one and Counterfeits and Control. I think I mentioned that in the intro, but those were the two songs MMP songs that you sang in the studio for.
Right. And then he sang on I Am Poseidon. We did like a
Right.
rock version. So
Yes.
that actually came after the video. So it was another whole thing.
Right. But I remember just like, what in the world are you wearing, dude? Like, what is going on here?
He's a Greek god. Come on.
Yeah,
Respect.
clearly. Are you like a big fan of Greek mythology?
Well, when I was doing The Mermaid, when you're doing an album, you want to kind of cover it all, right?
Hmm.
So, I mean, how are you going to talk about mermaids and not like go for Poseidon? Like, what is this here? So,
Right.
so I actually got into Greek mythology and learned about it. I even have a song, well, the one that I just released, Atlantis. So I did my studying about that. So it was kind of like I'd get this idea and then I gotta like learn all I can about it. So
Hey, you never know. Maybe like you'll get picked up for like the next Aquaman movie for the soundtrack or something. I don't know. Fingers crossed.
exactly, exactly. Or even classrooms to like, make mythology fun.
There you go. Well, I mean, my wife's a teacher, so I'll have to send her some of that stuff. Be like, hey, if you're ever,
Please.
I mean, she's teaching kindergarten, so I don't think they're quite getting into that, but I think she would appreciate it.
Oh, true. True.
So, but yeah, it's fun seeing all the different themes that you touch on
Cool.
in your music videos on your YouTube channel, and I know we had talked about this earlier. Like, I feel like some of the stuff would be really good for like, and this might not be what you had intended it for, but I was thinking like some of the stuff I could see this as like part of ad campaigns or commercials or jingles or something like that.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, I got to put my stuff up on platforms that can get that out there. That'd be great.
Right, kind of like the tourism stuff that I mentioned before, and for like Lisbon or
Yeah.
Vegas or wherever it might be.
Yeah, yeah. All right. You want to help me market?
I mean,
As if you don't have 1,010,000 things to do
nah,
yourself.
I would if I could. I'm good for like creating up with ideas.
No.
It's the follow through that I'm not always that great on. But that's a
Ah,
different
that's
story.
us. That's artists. Yeah. Don't
Exactly.
worry.
Exactly. But I did want to clarify this earlier. You're not a full-time member of MMP. You are a what they call a featured artist, where like you come in and you'll play shows with them, but you're not necessarily going to be on every single show or every record. It's definitely a
Yeah.
unique arrangement, but I think it works for you guys.
Oh, good. I'm glad you think it works. Yeah, I mean, part of it too is just, a lot of the recordings. I'm only on two of them, really.
Hmm.
So, but when we were doing it live, Bryant was like, "Oh, well, why don't you harmonize on this part and that?" So, he wrote me in on a lot of it, and it's fun. It's great. Love being up there, but yeah, there is a distance factor too. So, you know, just to get rid of the pressure if I couldn't make a gig
Gotcha.
and they were doing one.
That's good to know. Yeah, I mean, it definitely sounds like an arrangement that works out pretty well. So between that and your own stuff and all the performance stuff, the acting and I should say the live action acting. I guess I'm not sure how to classify like the princess stuff. You know,
Well, I'm also superhero.
yes.
So
Oh,
Wonder
that's right.
Woman,
Yes,
Supergirl. So
that's awesome.
I'm a live action hero too.
Awesome. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I'm a part-time superhero. Save the day,
well, of
spare
course.
time.
Again, my girls would freaking love that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great.
Very cool.
Also working on a new album called Winter Solstice.
Yes.
So hoping to get it out by December, obviously,
Well, you got
because
to
it's
have
got.
like an Elsa theme with that as well, like Anna and Elsa type of deal.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think of that. I've written a lot of kind of holiday songs throughout the year, so now I'm finally like redoing them and putting them all in one. So that's kind of what that is.
Well, I mean, kind of like related to like winter solstice. I think I don't know if that comes from like more of a Norse type of background, where the solstice comes from. Forgive me if you
Oh,
celebrate the solstice. I don't quite know all the background on it, but I know kind of related to is the song you did, Maritime Law, which you shot a video for in Norway.
yes, yes, in Bergen.
How did you end up shooting a video in Norway, by the way? Did you just like to travel and like to visit places there, or? Did you have any contacts over there?
Well, for a while, my parents liked to travel, so I would, go along. And my mom's thing was film, or camera, pictures, that kind of thing. And so for me, it was the film. I would film it. And because I need to get my music out there, so I would put both of them together, go to these beautiful places. And some of it, like Au Naturel, I filmed in France, but then the parts of me we did, in Florida, some field that looked something like it. Another one called Beautiful Night, I shot of the Giza pyramids, but then the parts of me singing, we picked a part of Miami with an older kind of building. So
yeah, the Au Naturel video, like you sang that both in English and in French, which was cool.
Thank you. Yes.
I mean, it
And
looked
then, of
like you
course,
were in a French vineyard there for a second. And by the way,
right?
guys, it's PG. Get your minds out of the gutter. Au Naturel. Let's relax with all that. It's not about what you think it means. Let's just get
But
that
I
out of the way.
was wearing, clothes, so
Strategically placed. Yes.
Exactly.
Exactly. It's about the illusion. It's theater. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, how are you going to wear a dress in Au Naturel?
No, you can't do it.
I was like, wait, this wardrobe is going to be easy for this one.
Exactly. Not quite going full Lady Godiva on that deal, but that'd be a whole different video.
Exactly. This was a tasteful, like natural,
Yes. All right.
birthday suit. Hey, we're all born naked. Let's face the fact.
All right. Hey, whatever works for you. So, but yeah, so I mean, like I said, you've been to all these different locations and had, I mean, I can only imagine the conversation that must have went down. It's like, hey, Mom, I know we're going to Norway. I've got this song that I think that'll work perfect.
I know. Actually, yeah, a lot of my family was just like, oh no, she's doing it again. But luckily my mom, goes with the flow, and she helped me out. Although there was one in Russia where they wouldn't. So I was like, all right, screw them. So I shot the video in Russia, selfie. That's called Broken Record. So
there you go.
I was like, I'm doing it anyway, jerks. So I just did a lot of spinning. But it ended up looking pretty cool.
Yeah. You didn't get any trouble with the Russian authorities then?
I know, right? Well,
you don't want to get thrown in the freaking gulag in Siberia or whatever they got.
Yeah. Well, we're there in the day. You had a timeline.
Yeah.
So
Very
it was
cool.
in St. Petersburg, beautiful city.
There you go. Nice. Let's go. Like I can imagine some of these songs, especially getting traction in like some of the European markets, stuff like that, because there's such like an audience for that sort of thing. I think over there, like so many different types of festivals and so on and so forth. Not that there wouldn't be over here, but I don't know. Some of that stuff I feel like, man, this would really translate to a European audience, I think.
Thank you. Yeah, I do believe that they're more open to, supporting independent artists over there. I've really seen that. Here in America, it's like they only want to show up if you're already popular.
Yeah.
America's very known for that kind of mentality. And unfortunately, I really wish that they would change and support the local artists more.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of always been that way. It's about who you know.
No.
And being in the right place at the right time, or having enough money to put up front to get your foot in the door to certain places. That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
But Bryant knows a thing or two about that. He and I have talked about that many times. Oh. But you've got some new records coming out. You've got I don't know how often you perform your solo material live. Do you get like a band to do that?
Well, I did perform at the Key West Mermaid Festival, the original songs.
Nice.
So Bryant came along, so he did guitar, and then I sang, and then we had the track as well.
Perfect.
In the past I've gotten a band together. So, but yeah, with the lockdowns, there hasn't been too much live music going on in Miami. So.
Yeah. Hopefully there's not more of that coming down the pike, but we'll see. I mean, as of right now, it's August 4th, so let's keep our fingers crossed that there won't be too much more of that in the future. So you never know. But yeah, you've got a lot of stuff going on right now. You do have a few things coming up. I think you have another show with MMP in the works. What are some of the other things that you have, I think I already mentioned the album, but like, what are some of the things that you have that you want to plug right now?
Well, definitely the music video for Atlantis Nights. There's also a fun behind the scenes video that you can watch. Uh, my next video that I'm editing right now was also shot in Norway. It's called Plenty of Fish. So look out for that
Keeping with the aquatic
whenever I can
theme.
finish it. Yeah, I actually brought a mermaid tail to Norway. Yeah, so this one I shot in a town called Flam, which is just beautiful. It's like paradise there. A little
I
bit
can't
more.
imagine what that has to be like to take a mermaid tail through security, through TSA.
Yeah.
They would probably have
Well,
so many
luckily it was
questions.
like a really thin one. Yeah, not like one of the silicone
Right. It's
thousand
like, does
dollar.
that clear customs? I'm not sure what's going on with that.
Yeah. Yeah, and then of course the gig on August 20th, we're opening for Tommy Vex. So at the Buddha.
Yes.
So
Yes,
looking
Tommy
for
Vex, formerly of Bad Wolves. So it's he's a young rock singer out there who has a lot of momentum. So that'll be cool to play with him and his new band. And
and now he's the lone wolf.
yes, he is the lone wolf, no longer one of Bad Wolves. He is a he is a wolf who has gone
He's
solo.
probably still bad though. Yeah, I'm
Right.
just kidding. If you're a rocker, you're bad, right?
Yes, yes, bad in a good way. You know, it's the whole double meaning sort of thing. But yeah,
Love it.
so a lot of exciting stuff happening in the world of Cara. Where can people find you online? What are some of your links, social media? Go ahead and plug away.
Great. Well, whatever streaming service you have, you could just type in Kahra, listen on Spotify, listen on Apple Music. Check out my YouTube channel, Cara, Kahra Music. Also, Cara Music on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. My website, of course, caramusic.com.
CaraMusic.com, Cara with an H. We will have all the links for it here in the description. One more thing I wanted to say before we close up here, like the fact that some of the shots in some of the mermaid videos, like you were able to like go underwater and they shot footage of you like singing it while underwater. Like that's impressive because I can imagine how many takes that took to get
Oh,
it
thank
right. You and
you.
some of the other girls who were in the videos.
Well, I'm always trying to push the edge of what I can do as an artist. And I'm like, I don't really know any other. I mean, did you see a video of Rihanna, mouthing underwater a song?
I
Not
haven't.
yet, but I beat her to it
There you
or
go.
whoever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Suck on that,
So
Rihanna.
yeah,
I'm kidding.
yeah, just doing different stuff, and that's definitely one of them is yeah, singing underwater.
It's impressive. It's almost like you're doing your own stunts. It's in a way.
Yeah,
You could add
yeah.
that to the resume, stunt woman as well.
That's right. I'll have to get my own rocket. Watch out, Bezos.
Now we're talking. All right, Cara, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you once again to Cara for talking a little bit more about her career and about her music and her involvement with Mature Musical Pictures. Make sure you check out all of Cara's stuff. I'll have a link to it in the description here, as well as maturemusicalpictures.com, for more information about the band. And yeah, this has been amazing. Thank you so much to Cara for taking the time out to talk to me, and thank you all for listening. I know it's been a while since I've put out one of these. I've just it's been a very busy summer for me. I've had a lot going on, so I don't always get to do this every week or every month even, but I'm glad to do this, and I appreciate every one of you who've subscribed, who continue to listen and continue to like and share and listen to all the other episodes. It means the world to me. It's nice to have sort of an outlet to talk to all of you, and that's what this is, and I don't take that for granted. As far as upcoming events, first I'll start with my main band, Vertebraker. We have a show coming up Friday, August 27th at Winfields in Satellite Beach. We will be there with Lydia Can't Breathe and Somebody's Hero. Going to be really exciting, really surreal, because both of those bands feature original Vertebraker members. So, Ryan is in Lydia Can't Breathe, and Rod is in Somebody's Hero. So it's going to be interesting, but we're looking forward to getting back in Brevard County and playing at Winfields. We love it out there. That's where the band started. So a lot of people we're looking forward to see. And then later in October, on Saturday, October 16th, we will be playing with Liquid Spiral, M99, Ebenezer and the Scrooges, and Grim Ghost. And we may have room for one more band there. I don't know for sure, but it's going to be nice. That'll be at the Haven in Winter Park. We haven't played there for a while. Winter Park is just outside of Orlando. It should be a fun show. I mean, it would be right near Halloween, so maybe there might be a little dressing up. I don't know. We'll see. But it'll be a fun night of music, so make sure you check that out. And finally, for Vox, I mentioned that I am playing with Vox now, with my buddy Regis, who's the lead singer. Vox, we have we just kind of last minute got on this show this Sunday, August 22nd, at the Brass Mug in Tampa. We're looking forward to being there. I think we're headlining that show. And then on Saturday, September 11th, we will be at the Blue Ridge Rock Festival in Danville, Virginia. We will be there on the local stage, but on the main stage, it will be headlined by Five Finger Death Punch, Megadeth, Lamb of God, Seether, and so many other bands throughout the day like Cypress Hill, Theory of a Dead Man, Trivium, Body Count, Beartooth. Just such a stacked lineup. I know that weekend you're going to have bands like Breaking Benjamin, A Day to Remember, Hailstorm, Skillet, Rob Zombie, Limp Bizkit, Chevelle. Then Sunday you'll have Shinedown, Papa Roach, playing. They'll be playing the entire Infest album. Papa Roach will on Sunday. Falling in Reverse, Bush, Gojira, Mastodon, Killswitch Engage. Oh my gosh, such a stacked lineup. It's amazing that this is the first big festival I've ever played on. So thank you to Regis and the guys from Vox for having me, me come on board for this and play that show with you. I know Vox will be touring all throughout the Midwest. They'll be in October and November. I won't be a part of that tour, unfortunately, but make sure you check out www.voxxofficial.com for all the information. So that is it for this episode of the Phoenix Report. Make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at jackxconnor. Like me on Facebook at facebook.com/jackconnormusic. Feel free to check out the bands, Vertebreaker at facebook.com/vertebreakerband, and Vox at voxofficial.com. I'll have all the links here in the description. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, make sure you leave a comment or email me at jackconnorpodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet me with the hashtag Phoenix Report. If you're listening to this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment, go back and listen to the other episodes. Check out the one I did with Brian August. He's the lead singer of Mature Musical Pictures. That sort of ties in with what's going on with Cara. So that is it for this episode number 80. Thank you guys for listening as always, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.